Let's say you want to shoot photography, or maybe you've always had a dream of starting a YouTube channel or something like that, but you just don't know where to start. Well, if you didn't know, the world of cameras and camera gears is extremely large, and it's oftentimes so overwhelming that it scares people away from ever even starting. So I'm gonna use my 10 years worth of experience and share the gear that I genuinely think is actually essential to starting out in photography, in video production, in editing, and everything in between. Let's start with photography. At its core, really what you need is a solid camera body and lens combo. Yes, there are a lot of accessories that you can add to it, and we'll cover some of those in a minute, but for right now, we're just talking about the bare essentials that you need to get started: a camera body and a lens. Also, the brand does not matter. There are a lot of people who hate on Nikon, a lot of people who hate on Sony, who hate on Canon. Me personally, I shoot Canon cameras. It's the brand that I've used for all 10 years of my career. So that's sort of what this video is going to be based around. But at the end of the day, do your research, find what works best for you, and everything that I mentioned in this video will still apply regardless of the brand. Also, before we get into anything, if you're not already subscribed, what the heck are you doing, man? Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. It's free. It didn't cost you a dime. We have fun, man. It's like tech reviews, and sometimes we go on little fun adventures. So, yeah, anyway. All right, moving on. So for the camera body, try to find a camera with a full frame sensor. Now what this means is you're getting a true 35mm image as opposed to a crop sensor. If you don't really know what the difference is, crop sensors are smaller, full frame sensors are larger, and so the image with a crop sensor is cropped in a little, sort of like this. If I was using a camera with a crop sensor, this is what the image would look like because, again, it's cropped in. As opposed to a full frame sensor, you get something a little closer to this. I shoot on a full frame camera, so camera is in the same position. It's just the image is cropped in a little more, so you may have to back up a little bit with a crop sensor camera. Also, with a full frame sensor, you get better low light, you get better depth of field, the colors are more rich. There's a myriad of benefits to going with a full frame sensor. Just trust me, look for a full frame sensor camera. The misconception that the camera body matters more than a lens is absolutely wrong. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because oftentimes you'll see a camera body with a lens included, and it seems like this great combination deal, like you're getting this great bargain, but in reality, that lens is extremely cheap. They're referred to as kit lenses, and camera companies include them with the cameras to try to encourage people to spend a little more money to buy a camera and a lens combination, like it's an all-in-one package. But the truth is, that lens is garbage and it will never produce good photos. And what ends up happening is people purchase this camera and it comes with a lens and they're like, I've got a camera, I've got a lens, I can take photos now and I can start my photography business. And they start taking photos with that lens and they realize that it doesn't look the way that they want it to. I feel like I'm doing everything right. Why does this not? I paid so much money for this. Why doesn't it look good? The lens. That sort of experience discourages people from continuing down the path of photography, and eventually they put the camera in a closet in the, in the stock camera bag that it came in, and then eventually it ends up on Facebook Marketplace, and that's the end of that. They don't go any farther with it. Do yourself a favor and just buy the camera body and buy the lens separately. Hand pick your lens. And I have a lens recommendation. It's this little guy, the 50mm f1.8. You'll oftentimes hear this referred to as the Nifty 50 or the Plastic Fantastic. And it gets that name because this lens is extremely small. It's very inexpensive, but the images that you get with this little lens are... Most camera brands have a 50mm 1.8 in their lineup, and it's a great starter lens because usually it comes in under $200. It has great glass, it has a low aperture of f1.8. 50mm is the equivalent of what the human eye sees, so the images will look very natural. I have converted so many I give up on photography people back into the world of photography by recommending this lens. It's not that you're bad at photography. It's not that you don't have an eye for it. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. You're just using a bad lens. Get a good lens with a decent aperture, a low aperture. take a couple photos with good lighting, and you will be amazed by what you can accomplish. And that is going to be a running theme throughout this video, is looking for lenses with a low aperture. A little life hack for you: don't sleep on using the foreground to help frame up your images. One more quick tip: maybe look into picking up a UV filter when you purchase your lens. These go on the front glass. They help protect that front element from scratches and rocks and drops and bangs and things like that. These are relatively cheap, and they are significantly cheaper than trying to replace your $200 lens or $500 lens or $1,000 or however much your lens ends up being. UV filters, don't sleep on them. All in all, let's say you go with a full frame camera body and maybe you go with the 50mm lens. You should expect to spend around $1,000. It may be a little less, it may be a little more, depending on the camera brand that you go with, but around about $1,000 is probably a pretty good price range to be expecting. And at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, wow, that's way too much money. I can't spend that much. Can I just go with something a little cheaper? Absolutely you can, but I'm telling you, I have seen it countless times, even in myself, because this was the situation that I was in. I was using a cheap camera body and the kit lens, and I was just so vehemently dissatisfied with everything I was producing. It wasn't until somebody loaned me a 50mm lens and I saw depth of field for the first time, and I saw a really crisp image that I took for the first time. And that was what sort of doused gasoline onto the spark that ignited this photography video production career that I now live in. If you are serious about photography and about video production, spend a little money on the front end. It will greatly encourage you to keep going, keep learning, keep shooting stuff. Also, if it's any peace of mind, camera gear tends to hold its value pretty well. So if you get it and a year into it, you're still not really into the whole thing, more than likely you can turn around, sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and get all, if not most, of your money back. I had a friend tell me recently that, dude, I just suck at photography. And I was like, no, you don't. You just suck at lighting. Get better at lighting. Understand how lighting works. And I'm not necessarily talking about video lights or production lights. I'm talking about natural light. You know, when you're shooting photos in your house, open the windows, use the natural light. Don't go outside and shoot at noon when the sun is directly above you and it's super harsh and it's super bright and nothing looks good. Go out and shoot at golden hour, or get up really early and shoot at blue hour. Or if all you have is noon, let's say you take photos on your lunch break, then take photos in the shade. But understanding lighting diffusion, the right time of day to take photos, all of that is extremely important, and it will make or break your images. Real quick, let's hit some accessories, starting with a camera bag. You don't necessarily need a backpack, especially if you're just starting out, unless you plan to EDC your camera. You're gonna carry it every single day along with your laptop, maybe a change of clothes and a water bottle. But if you're just looking for something to just designated carry your camera, something like the Peak Design Everyday Sling, which is what I've got here. This is a 6-liter bag. It has dividers inside of it. It's very modular. There's all these different zippers and pockets. Something like this is $100. You might can find it a little cheaper if you peruse eBay. I would definitely say find something with padding, something that feels like it's well insulated. I would look for something that is weather resistant. All of that is just ensuring that your gear will stay water-free, dust-free. If it gets dropped, it'll be safe, all that sort of fun stuff. Also, I'm gonna be leaving links to as much of this stuff as I can find down in the description to hopefully help make the shopping process a little easier. You're also gonna need an SD card. I would say a 128GB SD card is plenty sufficient. I personally use SanDisk SD cards. Extra batteries are probably also not a bad idea. You can get a charger like this with 2 additional batteries on Amazon for like $30, I think, something like that. This is the newer brand. I've had really good luck with these batteries. They seem to hold their charge really well. The camera doesn't give me an error code whenever I try to use them. And lastly, I would say a set of white balance cards. Most people, when they start shooting photos, they just use auto white balance, and truthfully, there's really nothing wrong with that, but white balance cards are really cheap. I think I paid like $8 for mine. They're a great tool to just help you keep consistent colors when you're shooting photos, and that makes the editing process easier. But let's say photography is not really your thing. Let's say you're more interested in video production or maybe starting a YouTube channel. Where do you go from there? Well, again, I would recommend starting out with just a solid camera body and lens combo. For the camera body, again, I would say go with a full frame sensor, preferably something that shoots 4K, and if you can find something within budget that shoots 120 frames per second, that's a huge bonus. I would encourage you to avoid getting caught in the weeds of going down like the specs rabbit hole, 10-bit color and color codecs and log profiles, and you're just getting started out. There will be plenty of time for all of that. But if you try to do that right now at the onset, number one, you'll spend way more money than you were prepared to. And number two, you'll burn yourself out at the very onset. As far as lenses are concerned, it's really dependent on what type of video you'll be shooting. A pretty good all-around recommendation would be to stick with a zoom lens, a 16-35 or a 24-105. And I would try to find something with a low aperture, let in more light, better depth of field, blurry background, all that sort of fun stuff. Now, regardless of what camera brand you go with, Sigma is a fantastic recommendation because they make lenses for all camera brands. They're generally very affordable. They're really good glass. And again, you're just now getting started out. You're trying to save money. Don't let anybody convince you that Sigma is not a great path to go just because they're not the native camera lens. A name brand doesn't mean anything around here. Now, if you haven't already picked up on it, video production or starting a YouTube channel, that's always going to be more expensive than photography. And once I start getting into some of the accessories that you need to do video production, it'll all start to make a little more sense, but that's just the nature of the beast and it's something to be expected. Some additional things that you're gonna need to get started is a tripod. You're gonna need a decent light, like a key light. You're gonna need a stand to hold that light. You're gonna need an audio setup. All of those things cost money. My recommendation for a decent tripod would be the Manfrotto Element. It's actually what I use. I'm using it right now. I've had mine for the last 5 years and it has been a great tripod. It's inexpensive, it's compact, it's durable, it's reliable, it's made of carbon fiber, it comes with a ball head, I think it's less than $100. For just getting started out, it's a great bargain. For lighting, everybody's gonna tell you to go name brand. Everybody's gonna say, go Aperture or go Amaran. And don't get me wrong, Aperture's a great brand. I own their lights. I'm using one of their lights right now. I have other lights around the studio. Their stuff's great. I really like the Sidus Link app that you can link everything up and use it on your phone. It's fantastic. But if you're getting started out, Godox makes great products. And they're not the only ones. There are probably dozens of other brands that make perfectly good lights. When you're shopping for a light, I would say look for the highest wattage light that you can reasonably afford. I would also say don't bother with getting an RGBW light when you're starting out. You don't need all of the colors in the universe. You really just need something that's going to make your skin tones look as natural as possible. For that, I would say look for something around the 5600 Kelvin mark. It's also more affordable when you purchase a light that just has the one color. You're also gonna need a softbox or a light dome. I personally use the Easy Lock brand just because, again, they're affordable, they look good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But really anything with a Bowens mount will suffice. You're also gonna need a decent quality stand to put your light on. You don't want the light to fall over. So if you can afford a C stand, that's great. If you can't, try to find something that is just a heavy duty stand. I would also recommend sandbags. Sandbags are cheap. You can get them on Amazon for next to nothing. And that will also help protecting your gear from falling over. For audio, I would say maybe go with a wireless mic system. It's a little less hassle. They sound really good. You can clean them up pretty nicely. I'm personally a pretty big fan of the DJI Mic Mini system. I've only been using it for about a month now, but I love the compact size of everything. It's just so teeny tiny and it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't really feel like you're wearing a microphone. You got the little magnet mount and for the receiver, you've got gain control. There's all kinds of perks and benefits to something like this. It's obviously compact, it's inexpensive, it's less hassle going with something like this. But eventually I would encourage you to go with a shotgun style microphone, maybe like the Rode Micro or something like that. Just makes run and gun filmmaking a little easier. Just like with photography, I would think 128 gigs is probably plenty when you're getting started out, but I would definitely pay close attention to the speed of the SD card, especially if you plan to film in 4K. You'll notice with most SD cards, there is a U, and then inside of that U is a number. And this is indicative of the write speed of the card. You take that little number and you multiply it by 10, and that's how many megabytes per second the card will write. If you're filming 4K, you want at least 30 megabytes per second or a U3 card. For camera bag, I probably would recommend a backpack here because there's obviously more gear to travel with.
Hi, future editing Jared here. I am so sorry. I left a very key portion of this section out. I was kind of in a hurry when I was filming the A-roll and I completely breezed past music. You have to have music when it comes to video production or YouTube. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, here we go, another spiel about ARTLIST. Don't even worry. I'm not even gonna try to sell you on ARTLIST today. I just want to show you a tool that they just released that I use and helps my workflow. If you're getting started with video production or making YouTube videos, this tool will significantly streamline your workflow. Let me show you. It's called their ARTLIST library extension. And essentially what it is you download this extension and it inputs into whatever editing software that you use. So in my case, I'm using Premiere. And up here at the top, you know, we have my source window and then our effects panel, but right next to it is ARTLIST library. Right here, I can search for anything that I want. I can type in rock, let's add another prompt, blues, and then let's add one more prompt and say vlogging. You can add as many prompts as you want. You're not limited to anything. But the big thing is you can search ARTLIST's entire music, sound effects, voiceover, and footage library right here inside of Premiere Pro. You never have to go to the website ever again. And that is such a, like, oh my gosh, why is everybody else not doing this? So my old workflow was go to ARTLIST's website, sift through the library, find a song that I wanted, hit download. It shows up in my downloads on the computer, and then I drag it from the downloads into a designated folder on my SSD, and then from that folder in the SSD, I drag it into a specific folder in Premiere Pro, and then from there, I put it on the timeline, and then I start editing. And this gets rid of all of that. You search right here within Premiere Pro, and then once you find a song that you like, you literally just click on it and drag it down onto the timeline, and it's there. Now, when I first tried this, my main concern was, okay, but where are the files going on my computer? And to my surprise, it's cataloging the files inside of the main folder that I'm editing out of. I have a folder on my hard drive with all of the footage, all of the audio. It creates a brand new folder called ARTLIST library, and it catalogs everything nice and neat in that folder. I have sponsors reach out like kind of often and say, hey, do you mind talking about this new feature? It's new, it's exciting, it's fresh, it's whatever. And it's almost never interesting to me. This is a complete and total game changer. I literally never have to leave the Premiere Pro editing software ever again. So if you're getting started in video production or you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, you're going to need music, you're going to need sound effects. Chances are you're probably going to need stock footage as well. ARTLIST has everything you need. They have multiple packages for you to choose from. It is a subscription-based service, and it is well worth the money. And if you click on my link down in the description of this video, you get 2 months completely free of any annual subscription. So thanks again to ARTLIST for sponsoring this video. Also, thank you for the extension feature. It's what we wanted. Y'all are killing it, man. Just keep it up. Whatever you're doing over there in ARTLIST land, keep it up because it's working.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly cover editing. I personally use the Adobe Creative Cloud suite. So Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, that's pretty much everything that I work within. For photos, I personally like editing in the mobile Lightroom app. This way you subvert having to use a computer. You plug a USB-C to SD card adapter into the bottom of your phone, import the photos into Lightroom there, make your edits, and then export them to wherever they're going. And again, if you're using the Creative Cloud suite, all of your presets and everything that you import on your computer will also show up in the mobile app. It's a very seamless workflow, and when you're getting started out, that is a key ingredient into not getting burned out, not walking away from it and being like, oh, photography's not for me. For videos, I edit everything within Premiere Pro, although a Creative Cloud subscription is a little on the pricey side, and even if you just get Premiere Pro, it's still kind of pricey. So for getting started out, I would look for a free software. DaVinci Resolve actually has a free version, and it is pretty sweet. But regardless of what software you end up editing in, I would recommend dedicating a good majority of your time to understanding color grading, how to color and stylize videos to be unique to you. And then I would also say, work on audio editing, how to make music work for you instead of against you, and also editing dialogue. So some key takeaways. Number one, look for a full frame camera. You're gonna get better low light, better depth of field, better color reproduction. Full frame is always going to be superior to a crop sensor camera. Look for a lens with a low aperture. Now, whether you're shooting photo or video, the focal length of the lens will vary a little bit. It also varies based on what you're planning to use the camera for. But let's say you just want to dip your toes into the world of photography. You have no plans whatsoever. For photo, I would say stick with a fixed lens, like a 50mm f1.8. Again, budget friendly, low light, shallow depth of field. And then for video production, I would say a zoom lens, a 16-35 or maybe a 24-70, but I would be looking for something with a low aperture like 2.8 or better. Also, Sigma lenses, don't sleep on them. I understand that they're not name brand, but it doesn't matter. They still make great products. While I'm on that topic, another key takeaway, name brand doesn't matter. You can't really avoid getting around name brand when it comes to the camera body. You're probably going to end up going with a Canon or a Sony or a Nikon or whatever the case is. But as far as lenses and pretty much everything beyond that, name brand doesn't matter. Learn lighting. Lighting will make or break your photos and your videos. And if you don't believe me, go outside and go take photos at noon. And then go take photos at like 6 p.m., 6:30, around golden hour. And tell me the photos don't look dramatically different. Also, if you're shooting photo or video in your home, open the windows, use the natural light. That's how you're going to get the most optimal product. Learn coloring. Don't just rely on presets. Don't just rely on LUTs. Learn how to do it yourself. Learn how to stylize your photos and your videos to have a style that is unique to you. And then learn audio editing, learn sound design, learn how to put sounds into your videos to sort of step up the overall production quality. Learn how to edit the music to work for you and not against you. Learn how to edit dialogue to be clear and concise. And don't forget to check out that new ARTLIST plugin. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Thanks for watching. You're awesome. I'll see you in the next one.